from a lot of the original texts to what made it into, people's Bibles or what have you. And so I do think there might be, changing a word here or there. For what reason? One can speculate that, yeah, maybe they're, they don't want people to know about a certain other presence. It's like these people, who go on social media just to debunk everything. It's like that's all they do. It's like, right. They're funny because those people are like the ones who call a lot of the researchers grifters. But it's like, where are you getting your money from? You're out here just making a living, like telling people UFOs are not real. How? How are you making a living?
They're still in the industry, you're saying.
Yeah, you're talking about it every day. You're arguably talking about UFOs more than I am. How? Where's that money coming from? This is wild. That should be looked into. Not people making money talking about UFOs. How about people making money saying UFOs are not real?
Well, I think you should
distribute it.
Yeah, I think you should distribute it and look at it across the board and say, all right, who's really just saying shit to say shit here, regardless of what direction it is.
It's just crazy to me. It's like, that's your whole job.
Yeah.
Like, you spending more time on social media than I do, and I get paid for it.
Yeah.
It's wild.
The thing is, like, there are unexplainable historical records throughout human history that point to things like, I'm not saying what it is specifically or whatever, but things that don't make sense. And I'm not just talking about like pyramids conspiracies or something like that. I'm talking about legit written down, like, wait, what did they just say about 3-foot people coming from the sky in fucking minus, or in 2000 BC in South America? Like, you see stuff like this, and when you see it over and over again, it's not like some fucking giant, like 8,000 year psyop or something. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's aliens, but like again, there, like we said it a few times today, but there's a there. And so if you're like completely throwing that out and not considering it, that's kind of nuts. But the reality is, before 2017, that's kind of what people did. Yeah. I mean, this was like you were crazy if it was like, he's one of those. Like if you talked about UFOs and then boom, they come into the New York Times and you get someone from the Pentagon saying, "Hey, we got some documents on this," and people are like, "Oh, now it's safe to talk about it." It's a shame that it took that, but like I agree with you, it's now like in the zeitgeist to the point that it's hard to get out. The place where I might disagree with you is that if the zone is flooded with way too much bullshit over time, that the average person is like, "What did that guy say last week again?" Oh, yeah, and then that was, all right, you know what? Fuck this stuff. Yeah. I could see the general, I'm not talking about the people that are fans of this that are genuinely curious about all of it or smart about it like you. I'm talking about the average person who you got to get on board. I do feel like we got to be careful with how much gets flooded into the zone because it's going to lose people.
Yeah, be it as it may, I think it's fine if it loses people. I don't think the aliens care. The bottom line, I don't think they give a shit if you believe in them or not.
Yeah.
Like, so, if it makes you happy to just ignore it completely, that's cool too. I don't have anything against someone who doesn't want to entertain the idea. That's a choice that you can make, and that's totally cool. I'm not out on a crusade to convince people. I hope that people who are on a similar journey end up finding a video that I made and that they go, "Oh, this guy gets it." Or, I'm there, I'm right there. That's who my videos are for. And it seems like that audience is growing. So the audience that I have, like the videos that I make aren't for the skeptic. Although if you're skeptic and curious, watch the video by all means. If you want to shut it off, unsubscribe and block me, do that too. I don't care. But hopefully it reaches an audience that thinks similarly. And that audience, like I said, seems to be growing, which is a good sign.
Do you think there's a world in which, not naming any specific one, but a form or some forms of organized religion can exist with a known understanding that aliens who are far superior to us do exist as well?
Yeah. Yeah, like the Vatican specifically, you mean? Like,
it could be any of them, but yeah, sure. Go with that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely believe from what I've read, I've only read a limited amount. I'm not an expert on the matter, but Diana Pasulka's work on that stuff, and how there does seem to be some narrative shifting in the translations from a lot of the original texts to what made it into, people's Bibles or what have you. And so I do think there might be, changing a word here or there. For what reason? One can speculate that, maybe they're, they don't want people to know about a certain other presence. I don't know. That would be interesting. That is the ultimate conspiracy, but then my practical mind goes, there's a comedian who, he said it so beautifully. He goes, after all the world's powers have come together and created the perfect conspiracy, and they did all the things and they're just about done. They go, only one thing left to do: plant the clues. Right? It's like, let's get the guy who does the Federal Reserve to team up with the guy who does Mad Magazine and like work on, it's like, what are we do? So there is that.
You got to leave him a treasure map.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole Da Vinci Code, wild goose chase, I think is fun and entertaining. I don't think is a big a reality as people make it out to be. I don't think there is like this one power.
You're probably right about that, because I think we ignore, in a lot of these conversations where we talk about this, we ignore human fallacy and human incentives, right?
Yeah.
Which includes the worst downside.
Yep.
And I think that there are different separately motivated groups of people who, in conjunction of taking whatever actions they do, may create this full reality that, from the outside looking in to you and me, might look like all these people are working together. Right.
Yeah.
And there are, and to be clear, there absolutely are conspiracies, and there are people who want to do things bad in the world and that do that. But I'm saying, like, all together,
like organized.
It's
probably not as organized as we think it is.
It's probably more like just a lot of a lot of pieces of really foul stuff. That
you meet like a lawmaker and you go, oh, he's dumb,
right? That's what I'm saying.
Like, how could he keep his mouth shut about anything?
Yes,
they'll say the wildest shit sometimes, on Twitter and stuff. And you're just like, what?
Yeah.
I thought you guys were like the gatekeepers. Nope. You're just saying everything that someone told you.
Just whatever's on the teleprompter.
Wild.
Yeah.
Somebody just told you something, and you're like, the next day you're like tweeting about it. I'm like, oh, okay. So these aren't the people.
Yeah. I mean, you live up in Canada. You see that up and close up there. Holy shit. Some of the things those guys say.
I know.
They make our guys look smart, and I don't think our guys are too smart.
Yeah. It's insane to me that, like, we put a lot of stock into, like, we always say the government is this like overarching, sort of umbrella corporation. But when you meet them individually, you go, oh, these are just dumb people like me.
Yeah.
They're not any smarter. Okay, sure, they maybe know more about law or more about this, but like the decisions they're making are full of mistakes, just like the ones that I would make. And so it is hard for me to fathom that, like, there is a select few that control everything when there's so many variables of, strange and but one thing that I will say is, like you said, there are incentives and there are ways to get people to do things or to not say things. That is true. There are people that are being threatened, to keep this a secret. That is no secret. And there are people who are being paid off. There are people stuck in like lifelong NDAs and their families are being threatened. So that does exist. And if you go back to the Manhattan Project, if you think we can't keep a secret, on that level, we kind of did already.
We did.
And
what else even happened there too, by the way?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. The offshoots of that is probably what we're dealing with today with the phenomenon, actually. You've had a few Townsend Brown discussions with Jesse, I'm sure.
Yeah, dude, Jesse blows me away with his historical understanding of everything and how it ties together. He's so into it.
Especially the atomic period.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But you have that, but also think about this. Like, these guys, they were considered heroes, patriots for keeping a secret, right? They were, and I think a lot of those guys were sort of grandfathered into the UFO space, and that mentality was too.
What do you mean grandfathered into?
As
the
in
UFO
like,
space?
hey, you kept your mouth shut about that and you're a hero. So we need you to keep your mouth shut about this and be a patriot.
Don't talk about those paperclip Nazis and the UFOs.
Do you know what I mean? Because it was for the greater good type deal, right? So I think with the UFO programs, it's the same thing. I think a lot of these guys are just, I think the people they look for in these programs are like patriots above all. I think like you're serving your country and that's why you got to take this to the grave because it's for the greater good type deal. And I think that's a good starting point other than threatening and NDAs and whatnot. So I think a lot of it comes down to people doing what they feel is right. And who knows, they might be doing what is right by keeping it a secret.
Yeah, it's where it gets weird because it's like, what do people deserve to know too?
Yeah.
You know, it's a part of your existence here on Earth, like that knowledge to understand. Like if you also could share in some of that intelligence, if that is in fact what exists, like, hey, this is what we know exists, this is where it is, or whatever, that is part of the meaning of life question. And it gets to who are you to gatekeep that, but also, you know, they can simulate what would happen to society if they release that information.
Maybe it triggers
too.
an event that ends it all.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it gets really scary. It's like that old Bob Salas story James Fox has talked about before when he's talking about, you know, the nuclear bases and, you know, the alleged UFOs that came there. It's like, it's almost like they were taking matches out of the hands of a baby.
Yeah.
It's like we're just that baby playing with matches.
Of course. I think so. I think that would be, you know, if you had a baby show up with a shotgun, you know, you'd be like,
that's weird.
He doesn't know how that works.
Yeah.
And then he shoots it and you go, oh shit, take the shotgun, get the shotgun away from him.
One of those little AI babies.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, real quick, I got to go to the bathroom, so let's take a quick break. But it's funny you brought up Los Alamos. I want to talk about that, and we got to get to some Lazar stuff too.
All right, yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.